By the way, this will all be clipped up and edited, so
All
like,
right.
if you
Well,
like fart, it doesn't matter. Yeah.
that's real. That's real.
Okay. Well,
No. Hello. Uh, to whoever's listening or hearing, or that's the same thing. To whoever's seeing or hearing this altercation.
next one. Yeah.
Um, we are just two college guys sitting in a dormitory room
We're just dudes.
with a lot on our mind, a lot to say, and we decided it'd be best if we documented it for ourselves as well as whoever may come upon these dialogues.
Yes, we named it the dialogues and the attitude of Plato's book.
So today will be our first recorded conversation and our upteenth actual conversation.
What does that mean? Oh yeah, it means like there's already been.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, we've had plenty of discussion, but today is the first day that the world at large, or I guess whenever this goes live, the world at large figures out about these very small, insignificant conversations happening in this very small, I guess, just in the bigger picture, this very small,
Yeah.
insignificant location.
We just met a while ago and realized that we both share a pretty similar mind in terms of how we analyze the world and how intellectually based we are. And we figured it would be a good idea just to document them because we have pretty interesting conversation. Not to be cynical or self-absorbed, but we just figured we'd post it somewhere because we think it's cool, and maybe other people share that same perspective.
We live, we currently live in a society where um, personal truth, especially on the internet, personal truth is really hidden. A lot of people would rather prefer to lie on the stand for,
Well, perceived personal truth. People are always on the internet discussing their opinions.
yeah.
Like, I believe this. The personal truth is out there. It's just, is it true? You know?
I don't know. I mean, I guess the point I was getting at was, um, if you're looking for something genuine to, I guess, sit around and listen to, it doesn't get better than this. Um, what you guys are going to be seeing and hearing is literally what just happens every time we see each other.
Yeah.
These conversations that we have a billion times a week will be recorded once a week. So it's not like what you guys are watching is calculated, planned, scripted. It's just two guys, man. It's two guys that decided to
Just two
document their
dudes.
dialogues.
Yes. Now, whenever we randomly run across each other, we end up talking for 4 hours on pretty much everything you could imagine. Whether it's personal events, catching each other up, or our collective view on individuality and history as a whole. They vary, and we think they're genuine conversations, and they'd be fun to record, not just for an audience. That's more of a second kind of afterthought, more for just ourselves, just to kind of document what we've already went over, because we make some interesting kind of conversation and points when we talk.
There will be little to no advertisement
Yeah,
of this channel or this podcast or whatever it turns out to be. As you can probably hear, that's how far the actual media part of this has gone. This is first and foremost a conversation between two people. Whoever sees this, sees this. Whoever hears this. But that is not the focus of the dialogues. And I'd also like to point out that we will be probably pretty vulnerable during these conversations. That's how they tend to go. Um, so we would ask that, obviously whoever sees or hears this respects, uh, at least just human decency with whatever is said or talked about here. You can disagree. You can shut us off, honestly. I don't really care. But if you do end up getting to the part where we maybe say something that's a little bit personal, just do your best on whatever side of the world you're on to
to understand.
not even understand, just respect, just
Yeah,
mutual respect there.
our goal is to capture a genuine attitude between two people in our conversation and ideas. It's not to attack anybody or to be irrational. It is to show you our flaws, our strengths, just the whole image of us, just two dudes in college, just talking. That's basically the gist of it. Um, kind of thought it'd be a good idea to show you the essay, or tell you about the essay I had whenever you were at the frat house.
All right.
Loopy.
Yeah.
So my antithesis was, I think it might be, no, I'll go from memory. That personal truth is the only truth, and that
Right. I remember reading that.
you remember reading it?
I'm pretty sure you sent it to
No,
me.
I told it to you.
Yeah.
I told it to you
I think
while
you
you
said
were
this
like,
essay was about.
you were like,
No,
seeing
I thought you
stars.
texted it to me. I thought I remembered you. You may have said
Maybe?
my essay is on self-truth, and that's like all you
Yeah.
said, and then I thought that I had read it for some reason.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. Let me find it actually. It was like deadass. It's gonna be a better idea. So.
What? It was something about personal truth is the only truth because truth is only found from within, or
Well, that's a good point. That's pretty much on the same lines of what I'm saying, but it's entirely different at the same time.
yeah, that's basically exactly it, but also not,
But also not at all.
it at all.
You're right, but you're also an idiot. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're getting spicy in here, I guess.
Yeah. We need to have an episode of the Kardashians,
We need to have an episode dedicated to the worst roast battle anyone's ever seen.
I think that would be unironically good entertainment. Here it is. Okay.
The worst, honestly, like, we are just the most awful, like, roasters ever. All right, here we go.
In a good way, though.
I suppose. This is fucking tired.
Pretty sure it was written this one. Yeah, it was. And don't worry about time. I can edit this out. I think I'm just gonna do these entire episodes on YouTube, like no editing. Throw it all in there. And then like TikTok, it'll be farmed for clips or whatever.
Clip farming. Yeah.
Dude, where the hell did I write this?
Is it even in that notebook? Truthfully, no.
In my personal truth,
No.
it's in here.
It's not in that.
It's in here in my
notebook, bro.
personal mind.
Read it then.
Read what?
If in your personal mind it's in there, then you should be able to read it.
It was that truth, whenever you speak it, whenever truth comes from experience to expression, from I experienced this event, now let me tell people, it becomes genuinely a game of telephone. My old antithesis was that Christ and Buddha, whenever they experienced their religious revelations, it was true. It was profound. It was a moment of clarity illuminated in their mind that connected them to God 100%. But as soon as you express that, as soon as you write it down, people can only understand that expression through their own experience. And if they have not had that experience, it is not true. It is only true whenever it is the moment of which they experienced it. Once it's spoken outwards, people understand it and misinterpret it because it's only understood in what they've experienced.
So
personal truth.
True truth only exists in shared experiences and shared knowledge, because you cannot truly understand or empathize with the true extent of someone else's truth if you didn't come to that same revelation through similar means.
Here it is. That's why this is on my desk, because I wrote in this one. Yeah. This is a good poem. It takes 2 minutes out of the week to feel and fall upon the sword of death, and 2 centuries to learn to take it seriously. That was from last semester.
That one's gas.
Last year.
That one's good.
Anyway, truth in the assertion of it is a difficult and highly subjective human endeavor, or rather an endeavor of reality. Truth varies on the scale of which it is required, and as well the individual versus collective basis. Let me get to the point where as truth spreads, it is taken and accepted amongst others, of which one can only take it and ingrain it in themselves as deeply as their relationship is to themselves and as it is, and self-awareness will allow, and two, are taking a truth as their necessity, that was originally created in the imagination and necessity of an entirely different individual, and an entirely different set of pretenses. However, this isn't at all, it seems. Truth requires a certain aesthetic to maintain its truthhood, a certain allure that finds the reality between it and everything else. And this allure is seemingly lost when masses of people grasp and follow it, and it is no longer an individual's own personal invention and continuation.
I find it really interesting when you read the way you write or the way you think, because
You fart.
no, I don't know.
My bad. Maybe I'm just telling myself. Anyway, keep going.
No, I find it really interesting the way you write, and then try and like talk about it, because I feel like you write and think on like your own separate plane.
So you're saying when I speak I'm stupid, but when I'm right I'm smart?
No, I'm saying when you speak and when you write, and then when you try and explain, it's hard to understand. I feel like you're the way you think and write is so dense. It's really vocab heavy. Basically, what I'm getting at is it's hard to understand for like your average person, because it's so just caked in like vocab and philosophy, and you know,
That's true. Yeah.
I don't know. I think you're thinking on such a higher, or you think so in depth and like thick, that like when you try and explain it to someone that can't really understand at that level, they'd have no idea what you're saying.
Right. And that's unironically what you got from me writing that is exactly what I'm trying to say.
But like
It's like a fucking full circle.
I like low key I didn't really understand what you said.
It's Ouroboros, the snake eating its tail rebirth.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, here, actually, maybe you're just better at like reading it yourself, because I think you said before you're better at like.
Well, I don't know. It's just like for me, and I've had that same mental conversation before in regards to talking with you. Sometimes, and I'd like to consider myself, someone that's pretty, intellectual. But I mean, sometimes the way you write or explain is just, I guess, above my mental pay grade.
No, that can't be the case, because I listen to you talk and I think a lot of the time you're more intelligent than I am. So it can't be.
Well, yeah, but you understand what I'm saying when I say it, right?
I think. Yeah. No, I know what you're saying.
I'm not saying that
I
you're.
do. I just think your brain works like more efficiently than mine. Maybe
Mm.
mine's at like quote unquote a higher level, but that doesn't. I think yours is just efficient.
Well, I'm not even saying your brain works at a higher level. I'm saying the way that your brain works and the way that you like explain it is really personal. It's really personal in the way that like it's how Brett understands it. It's not it's not easily accessible to the average person.
Art is personal.
Right.
It's always a reflection of who's expressing it.
Right, but it's really hard in philosophy, because philosophy is the whole point of, thought and studying thought and the practice of thinking, but it's hard to share those thoughts when they're in a format that aren't easily accessible. And I feel like the way you think is in a format that is not easily accessible.
It's because it's a reflection of the authors that inspired it, and they're not easily accessible.
Yeah.
It's just a continuation. Yeah. But I hope that in you saying that, my goal with it is that whether or not it's dense and too thick, is that it's genuine. I'm not trying to change it. It's just like my thoughts, and I put it down.
Mm-hmm.
And I do have some sort of analytical critique where I'm like, okay, I should change this. This looks better. But ultimately, above all, I don't change it, because it's just I like the idea of writing it, and I don't write it for any audience. I write it because to me it's important.
Yeah. No, I think you correlating it to the philosophers of time that have inspired you is actually pretty accurate. Because that's another reason why I can't really get behind older philosophy is I can't read it. I don't know. I feel like I understand.
You talk like you're one of them, though, which is funny.
Well, I don't know. I try and talk at a level that I understand, and I think the level that I understand, like, I don't know. I feel like a lot of older philosophy, so much of the message is unnecessary because
Yes.
it's such flowered language.
No, I agree. I agree with that sentiment 100%. Actually.
Like it's just so. Here, you can have this back. It's just so. Yeah, I mean, I guess
I think
flowery, thick language.
Once it got to
just for the sake of like, it's just for the sake of like letting people know that this is deep thought.
Yes, no, I genuinely, I'm not gonna curse. I was gonna say F-U-C-K-I-N-G.
I already said fuck on the mic, so you
Well,
might have
no,
to
I
cut
mean just
that
like trying
or
to like
bleep it.
curse less.
We'll bleep it.
Yeah. I'll have to figure out how to bleep stuff, but we'll get there. No, I think
When I read it, that's how I feel.
18th century. No, I know, me too. But 18th century philosophy, like Friedrich Nietzsche was where I started, and Schopenhauer, which were an 18th, 19th century pessimists. And it is just philosophy is so often written as like, look at me, I'm smart. It's so often written like that.
Well, what
instead of like, I have something really important to say. Let me
the message is great.
Well,
there have been so many like great philosophical breakthroughs, but they're hidden in this chunk of flowery, exaggeratory language and like backwards sentences. And it's like you have such a great message, but it's reaching so many less people because it's not easily accessible. And because it's the way they wrote, it's pretty similar to the way you write. And so that's what I mean when I say that your thoughts aren't easily accessible. They are hard to understand to the average person because they're coded in flowery language.
That's why well, see, that's the thing is, two things I have to say to that. One, whenever I write simply, I look at myself and I say, you're stupid. Second of all,
but I think there's
I mean,
there's beauty. It's a different, separate kind of beauty.
And two, there's one of my favorite writers, Emerson. He, beautiful way of putting it simply. Marcus Aurelius, another one of my favorite writers, or Aldous Huxley, which is The Doors of Perception I showed you. Genuinely, he writes in a way that is easily accessible. You don't doubt that he's incredibly, bafflingly intelligent, but he writes in a way that's just simple and coherent.
Yeah.
And I try to do that. But these essays are not written for my book. That's why they're dense. These are written for myself.
Yeah.
So like when I write for an audience,
but I do make it a little but more you think on that level.
Yeah. This is me just like my dense vocabulary is how I naturally think.
So honestly, when you explain it to people, you have to translate it through its own filter of just like, huh. You know how interesting of a thought it is that you have to translate your own thoughts before expressing them?
What'd you say? Sorry. What?
I said, do you know how interesting of an idea it is that you have to translate your own thoughts before expressing them?
Yeah, I mean, when you put it like that. Yeah.
Does it suggest that your thoughts are so great that they need dumbing down upon translation, or does it suggest that your thoughts are inefficient to the point where you need to take an extra step in order to express them?
First of all, somewhere in there is a compliment. Thank you.
Yes, yes. I'm not trying to dog on the way you think, because obviously every person has their own way of doing it, and I just think the idea that you have to translate, transcript, and properly, go through different channels before you express.
When I was about 14, I spent the entire year reading philosophy, and then it was when I got to 15 that I wanted to write. I realized I need a simpler way to do this, and so that's why I started writing poetry because it's.
And your poetry is great.
Easier.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's just like
your poetry is straight to the point, but it does a great job of teetering that line.
So that I think there's a few lines, like for instance, there's a poem I have about police. I had this like crazy thing happen to me when I almost got arrested when I was your age actually.
God,
back when I was a youngster.
Old hood. Oh my God.
Back in those days.
We're hitting back. Yeah, we're hitting back in my day right now.
Back in my day.
Oh my God. Someone gets.
See, back in my day, cops they wore shorts.
Oh my gosh, get out.
Okay, so anyway, I had something happen, and I wrote in the line that it traumatized me that there wasn't a single night that I couldn't go without dreaming about the same traumatic terror, and it was emotional. And then at the very end, this is a really good example of philosophy and poetry colliding into one artistry. And I said, authority is an illusion when it demands our tears, and power abuse is no power at all. And that's the very end of me speaking about the cops. Authority is an illusion when it demands our tears.
Authority.
Processing.
Yeah. Yeah, because again, it's painted in a way where I need to properly understand it.
Well, it forces my poetry in this podcast also.
Well, yeah, it's good to force people to think.
It forces them to think.
Say it again. Authority is an illusion
when it demands our tears. Proper authority, proper masculinity, and leadership is gentle, not dominant and overbearing. If it forces us to cry, then it's the wrong type, and therefore it's an illusion and it's see-through. It's transparent, not a solid wall.
But that's to suggest that true authority or authority in general can only mean authority without negative emotion, which just isn't true.
Which is, I'm a romantic writer. Romanticism. I romanticize.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's naive. It's completely naive.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's what it is.
It suggests that authority can only come in one form,
But at
and
the
that
same
if it
time,
comes in this other form, it's wrong and therefore considered no authority at all.
but at the same time, it's a negative poem.
Yeah.
About it.
So no, I get that the whole point of it is to harp on the point that, you know, authority and power used incorrectly and wrongfully for the purpose of effectively hurting or negatively affecting someone is no power or authority at all. I think that's from an emotional standpoint, removing logic, it's pretty apt.
Removing
but
logic,
it's just
yeah, that's fair.
Which is some of your poems honestly are a spectrum. Like there are a lot of them that do comply to logic, and then there's some of them that is that Heineken from Ben?
It's from Ben.
Dude, that's so funny. How much did he have to drink in here?
Huh?
How many did he have to drink in here?
No, we didn't drink any.
Oh.
You
just brought it home and realized it was in my pocket and threw it on the floor?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, fair enough.
I don't like Heineken. It's gross. Sorry, what were you saying? You had a
really
good point. What were you saying?
I was saying that your poems, honestly, you have a lot of them, and a lot of them cover a lot of different bases, and some of them comply to basic logic and some of them don't. And I think that one is one of them that doesn't, because it focuses more on the emotional turmoil of your personal experience.
Yeah. No, the thing is I'm an incredibly logical thinker, and poetry is the one time where I'm 100% emotional.
Yeah.
And that's the point of it.
Which is a good outlet to have too.
Exactly.
You can remove the logic and let the emotion out.
And then there's more metaphysical, and I want to get your opinion on this poem, because this might lead to an interesting conversation. It's called In, Not Out, and this is about how spiritual truth is in words. It's also an allegory for God.
Okay.
The first line is, the forests abound themselves. Abound means to create itself. The forests abound themselves and sing like the sea, immortal and likely, like late blooming love. Skip that line, it's not important. I am the one who pauses in a world of never ceasing motion. That's God. I am the one who pauses in a world of never ceasing motion. The God that is reflection. My poem. And the first line is talking about nature. And then I'm the one who pauses in a world of never ceasing motion. No, that's not. I think I forgot it. No, wait. There's a line I have later on in that's we are seeking for something that's already found us. Profound and pure, sensationally random, we are as we become. It honestly loses its whole point whenever I completely forgot the middle gap. But
well, again, the way that you just explained that to me,
it's not supposed to make sense because we cannot comprehend it. I'm trying. It's like
but when you have a purpose, that the whole point of the purpose is that it's not meant to be understood.
Well, it's only supposed to be understood in terms of your own imagination. There isn't a finite grasp of it. It is just here, take it. Let it mean something to you.
Okay.
Because what it means to me, it can't mean the same thing to the person that reads it.
Okay. So it's a very personal experience when it comes to reading a poem.
I think it forces people to have that experience of what does this mean, instead of just like one of those poems. It's like your red flags were all I could see. Red is my favorite color, like some sort of like basic white girl poem. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's poem.
Bio stuff.
That's an act. Yeah, you know what I mean? Where it's like, okay, I read it and I immediately understand what it's saying. It's supposed to be like, you know, you're supposed to hit this pose and be like, huh? You know?
What? Yes, but what determines whether a simple poem is a good poem or a bad poem is the complexity of the message. That's like, red flags, drag us all out of the seat. That's a simple poem, and it's a simple message. Okay, you have a hard time recognizing bad qualities in people. Yay, we figured it out. I can sit here and I can say, just as the leaves fall, I feel as though my tree has already withered.
There you go.
Right?
By Patrick
So you
Highway.
can get it. You can see what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But the message is that as time is passing, I feel like I've already lost it all.
Right.
As the leaves fall, I feel as though my tree is already withered. Simpler writing, complex
complexity, you could see
message.
it as like you have nothing to shed because life's already taken it from you.
You can take it multiple different ways.
Like I'm saying that, maybe you weren't trying to say that.
I wasn't.
Art is infinite.
But yes, but also the way that it can be easily understood to get to that point of understanding the message. I feel like if you have to spend a lot more time understanding the way it's written, you take more time away that you could be using to process the message.
That's a good point. That's a genuinely good argument, actually, yeah.
Which is why I feel like when you write a poem with the sole purpose of causing someone to reflect.
Let me find examples.
Oh. Yeah, when you write a poem for the sole purpose of forcing someone to reflect, there is a chance that they have already moved on in their search for knowledge
get a load of this poem
to the next potential source of information.
There are a lot of it.
I think the best poems are the ones that allow flexibility. Like, you can get the poem at face value, or you can do your own further digging on it, or you don't. Like, it's not, hey, in order to understand this, you need to give it complex thought. Because that makes it more of a chore than an actual experience.
A lot of it's metaphysical. But no, you're right. There should be a simple understanding, and then if you want to go further, there should be more. That's a good point.
Freedom should be with the reader. And so when you write something or you explain something that requires, the only way you'll understand this is if you give it complex thought. It removes the magic of searching for the answer of your message.
This is a good example of a poem that my poems never really rhyme because I think that's often not needed for a poem to be good, but
I agree.
It's called Our Society Sickens the Sane. Madness left to roam. I'll just let you fucking see this while I'm reading to you. A poet must
I feel like a little baby.
Bedtime story. Like bedtime story. No, madness left to roam, a poet must atone, and write his sin and cry within the secret song.
You're reading that way too fucking fast, gang.
Madness left to roam, a poet must atone.
Thank you.
And write his
sin. We gotta lower the BPM.
Within the secret song of love. Nonetheless, the important parts of these. The benevolent portrayed as insanity, and kindness seen as a vanity. When will we see we will never get to be free when the truth becomes neglected and our lives become respected? And why do we wait and never take the bait that God's gave above our sanctum lack of love?
Yeah, that's great.
And that's like, you know what he's saying.
Yeah, but the message is complex. You're saying something.
Yeah.
You're saying something impactful and important.
This is a better example. This is about being a kid in my backyard. A splash, a smile. This is honestly not important. The past, now abandoned and unknown, unaware, unannounced, somewhere we had changed between what is now and what was. Something had changed us and robbed our innocence. Was it us or the world?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly, yes. And I think those are the best kinds of poems. Okay. No, those are the best kinds of poems. It's the ones that are easily digestible, and yet their message is so complex that it still provides that gateway, that extra opportunity to take it further should the reader want to. I think those are the best poems.
You could be a better author than me. You know what you're talking about.
I should. I really should.
You should.
But like, honestly, like, I feel like I match you in terms of philosophy. Every time you say a philosopher's name, I have no idea who they are. I have not once a day in my life like actually read philosophy from a philosopher.
That's crazy. How did you get to this? We're on the same wavelength.
It's all personal.
I know.
It's just the way I think. Like, it's not influenced by anyone. And so I honestly feel kind of like out of my depth when we talk about these historical philosophers, because
if you understand the concept without the author, then there you go.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. You know. But no, I've never really been a big fan of like reading philosophy or understanding. I enjoy philosophical conversations, but when it comes to literature, I mean, I'm also just not a big reader in
Well,
general.
philosophy doesn't have a good face. It isn't appealing to most people because most people think of it as thick and boring, you know.
It can
And
be,
that's the truth.
but it can also be
That's the truth in most
easily
cases.
digestible.
It just it took me quite a while to find philosophers who were like good at saying what they needed to say in as little words as possible,
Mm.
because not a lot of people valued that. Um, a lot of it is an egotistical trip of like, look at me, look what I can say. It's impressive. It's a lot of words. Um,
Yeah.
and that's what I found in the majority of the books I read.
Mm.
But I still read them because to me it was an egotistical thing of I want to read as many books as I
Mm.
can. No, but it genuinely amazes me how it took me like 60 books of philosophy to get to this point. I'm not saying I'm like a brainiac, but to get to a point where I can like perceive things on an existential scale, whereas you are on the same level, but you've never endeavored to look inside philosophy.
The most the most like looking inside I've done is inside myself, honestly. Um, I mean, the way that you talked about personal truth and the way that and the way that it stems from personal experiences, it's shaped a lot of my, I guess, philosophical views. Is just the way that I perceive the world and the way that I believe people to be, and I think that is the honestly the most fun philosophical argument I have both with people and myself is people. We are so insignificant in the grand scheme of everything, and yet so individually complex. And it amazes me that we don't really matter, but for someone or for a being that has such a small role in the multiverse, we are packed to the brim with endless things to talk about.
Yeah, no, interestingly, I remember like a few years ago, I had one of my friends from high school. She was like, I think like one of these days we were talking about music. She was like, we're gonna run out of like song ideas to write, and I was like, that's picturesquely impossible,
Yep.
like
Yep.
literally impossible.
Yep. No, it's genuinely possible, and it's I don't know. It goes into existentialism a little bit for me because it's like I wonder what happened in history, in biology, in divinity. Should you go there? I wonder what happened to grant such a small portion the individuality and complexity of something that should have a bigger role. Like you're granting so much detail to something that otherwise should be insignificant. And I think that's extremely interesting because, well, how insignificant are we really if we are granted the significance of something better?
That's a good point. Well worded too. You're right. I've never thought
Because
about it like that.
and
Yeah.
so it's something I constantly struggle with is how significant, how important really is the human race? And I sit here and I'm like, well, basically everything continues to function uh, within the planet and the multiverse and everything. Nothing changes if we disappear today. But if that's the case, why do we hold so much detail as if we were something that were important enough to change everything?
That's fair. I've always thought of the idea of what constitutes a conscience. Like, I don't know if you know elephants. Elephants like worship the moon and they bury their dead. Like they do some things that are
Oh,
characteristically human.
yeah.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? I found out about that. I was like, what?
Yeah, I didn't know
Like, how
that.
did I know this?
Yeah, wow.
Like, I'm gonna go hang out with those guys.
Yeah.
But
Well, I don't know if I want to hang out with elephants burying
yeah,
other elephants, but
yeah.
yeah, wow.
No. Anyway, I was gonna make a joke. Like, well, you already look like an elephant, so.
Don't bury me at least. My heart's still beating.
No, but anyway, what like do these animals have the same thoughts as us? Because I think, and that's romantic, but I like to think that these ideas that they're thinking about potentially, they just maybe do not express them like we express them with architecture or foundation. We put a lid on reality, a casket
Yeah,
on a body, whereas they
and
just want to live without with it open, maybe, and just
Yeah,
kind
but
of.
the problem with that to me is just the way I think is so hybrid. Like, to that end, I would dive into my biological logic and say, biologically, scientifically, their brains aren't developed enough to share this perceived emotion to the full extent that we do.
Yeah.
And that's just me kind of teetering the line. I constantly look at everything through multiple lenses. And so when it comes to that, I have a hard time believing that other um, organisms on this planet could ever possibly reach our levels of emotional expression, existentialism, and thought because biologically their brains can't.
But there is the scientific impendum that we don't really fully understand consciousness as it is. Like there's parts that we just can't.
Oh well,
And
I'm
you're right,
not.
like your biological, like
Well,
yeah,
I'm not
like your brain's
arguing
small,
they
but
don't
like
have a conscious
well, I
or
mean
that
like
they're not conscious. I mean,
but I don't know. It's gonna sound. Do you think animals have thoughts? Like that's just,
yes,
they
yes, because
probably
they
have.
act. They have thoughts because they act. It's very clear when parents of when lions go and save their cubs, they're making an
Are
act
they thinking, oh
based
shit,
on their conscious. I
oh
fully
shit?
believe they are. Now, I also believe that there are living, I use that loosely, there are living organisms that don't. No, that tree doesn't care that you ripped its limb off. I'm sorry. No, it doesn't.
Maybe.
Well, and then
Sometimes I see more in trees than I do chipmunks.
they hit us with the, well, it's actually proven that trees scream when you rip their branch off. That's a biological reaction to them losing a branch.
You
It's
know,
not
grass does
yelling
that.
at you.
Grass does that too.
It's not yelling at you. It's a biological defense because it just got attacked, basically.
Mm-hmm.
It's different with more complex organisms. I fully believe they have a conscience because they make decisions. There are multiple
That's a good argument.
instances.
Yeah.
There are multiple instances in nature of the animal subverting expectations and doing something based on something other than survival.
Yeah. No, like dolphins getting high.
And
For instance.
that variance
Where are my glasses?
proves that there's a conscious.
Well, maybe it's more of they're just. I mean, I agree with you, but this is a counterpoint to balance it out. Maybe they're just going towards pleasure. Just feels good. In the same
But they're
aspect.
making a decision. And I believe that that decision and decision making in organisms, well, that's not necessarily a definitive.
My girlfriend's texting me. I want to see how long this video is. 37 minutes.
What are you planning on a deadline for? It's like an hour.
50 now. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, no, I think consciousness is another one of those things. Honestly, to me, where we've already talked about it, it's one of those things that I believe we're never supposed to know. So it's a waste of time thinking about it.
Well, I think
I think consciousness is another one of those things for me.
Because genuinely, what would it mean if we understood? If we were in a lab one day and we're like, oh, this is like God is true, yes. God is not true, no. Like we just figured
honestly, it out. Even when it comes down,
like, life would lose its kind of like.
Even if we do have the answer to consciousness, people, out of protection of their own beliefs, won't even care.
Yeah.
They're gonna be like, I reject your science because consciousness means this to me. Honestly, it'd be the same thing with divinity. If we ever found, this definitive, holistic truth of this, they'd be like, there would absolutely be people that like, no, I reject your truth because my truth is that this actually happened. So what you're saying is wrong. Which is why finding proofs to these existential arguments is a waste of time.
You know what? I don't have any counterthoughts. Like, yeah, I kind of agree. I guess honestly.
Like there are things that
people aren't going to see it as a waste of time, but I agree in a certain aspect.
Well, and it also circles back to my idea that we are largely insignificant in the greater scheme of things. We are we're low enough on that totem pole that it's something we're never supposed to know. You don't know when you, as the minimum wage worker, don't know when CEO is firing you until you get laid off because you're so low. You're never supposed to know. That's where I believe we are. I believe
too,
that these
yeah.
are things that we are never supposed to know, because should we know them, it would break the entire fabric of what we are.
It's like, yeah, if we knew what like the 1% were doing, we would probably revolt in the same aspect.
I wouldn't be surprised if like, and we're gonna go really morbid here, just as a warning in general. But I would not be surprised if the farthest bounds of our if the farthest bounds of what we think about when it comes to our existence, if it turns out to be the negative, would not be shocked if there's a mass genocide or a mass like suicide.
Like, what would the conclusion be that would lead to that? We find out God's not real, or like we find out
Simulation. Um, I think that would hit pretty hard for
simulation.
millions of people.
Yeah, I think a lot of people wouldn't
To
believe
have definitive proof that everything you do every minute of every day will never be it will never be documented. You don't actually exist, and there is no purpose to what you're doing outside of just doing it, because it doesn't go anywhere.
Well, if it feels
I think
purposeful, it is purposeful though,
yeah. Well, I'm not
and
saying it's
that's why
everybody,
I would logic it.
but it's either that or we find out that we actually have no free will, and everything we do has been. I think fate theory is actually a lot darker than people actually realize. I think people that say that they are destined to do something don't understand how sad that is.
Yeah.
Living out a predetermined existence and knowing it's predetermined, I don't even know
I think
what I would
be
do.
the more I agree. I think what would be. I think about this a lot when I get deja vu, and I get deja vu like twice a day, often. Like, I get a lot, and when I get it, it feels as though I've. I mean, the typical conclusion is that I've been here before. I've done this before. That's what deja vu is. And a fear of mine is that I've done this before. Like, I've been Brett before. When I die as Brett, I'm just gonna come back and do it all over again. That would genuinely.
Ooh, that's good.
Because you
That's
would have
really good.
Nothing would be significant, Patrick.
Holy crap, that's
Nothing
good.
would be significant.
That's good.
You know,
To
that's worse than predeterminism.
to put a
you know?
twist on reincarnation, where you don't come back as somebody else. You are exactly who you are right now, and so you're just living multiple
Just again,
different.
I forget
You're
it, and I
living
do it all over
multiple
again.
different
The same mistakes,
variances
I
of
do
the
them all
same.
over again. That would be torture. That is
Oh, you're
I
saying
think-
you're
I
saying
think
you're
hell.
you're living the exact life
I
that
think
you did
that is
before
hell.
over and over again.
I love my life, but that would be hell. I want to be someone else or go somewhere else when I die. I don't want to be here. It loses its meaning if I repeat it. And so if it repeats itself, that's meaningless.
That's
and
good.
That's torture.
And that goes
Yeah.
back to, if we found out something like that,
Yeah.
multiple people would take themselves out.
Yeah.
It loses everything.
Yeah. I might be one of those people, to be honest.
I think, and that's why existentialism is a waste of time to think about.
I mean, I wouldn't. I'd like get high on cocaine and like get laid a bunch, and then I kill myself. But like, yeah.
Well, yeah, but
I'd have some fun.
Yeah, but if we found out that that's what happened,
what?
Guess what Brett does next? He gets deja vu when he does lines of cocaine, and he actually feels guilt when he takes himself out because he knows that he'll do it again. And that's the problem with this.
No, to me, genuinely.
Well, obviously, it's an individual thing.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. To me, that's hell, and that's not in the most sincere way. When I've been on psychedelic drugs,
yeah,
and I've been on,
mind openers, so to speak.
No, like 10 times the dose that a human being should take.
Oh, thank God you're alive today.
When you see a room repeating for 10,000 miles, I don't know, like that theory of like you live your life over and over again. Those moments genuinely to me felt like I was in hell, like I was suffering for something I did wrong, and it frightens me to think of living my life over and over. Like that to me, on an emotional basis, emotionally and logically, also kind of, it feels like hell. That would be hell. That would be hell. Like there's being like burning for a million years, and like repeating your life over and over again. That's hell. Because there's no meaning in it. There's no meaning in doing the same things over and over again. Even if it feels good, even if there's good, there would be no good to live for. Because there's no meaning and significance if you're doing it over.
I haven't thought about that.
Because my view of death is that you die, and you're you're here to improve. Generally, just improve, do something good. Whenever you have anxiety, that's your soul. I believe our soul is watching us inside of us. It's a weightless thing, and it's tortured inevitably to watch us commit the same mistakes that it's seen in our past lives. If you believe in reincarnation, which I don't really kind of believe in it.
My problem with
Nonetheless, I believe that the real part of us is being tortured watching ourselves. And here, I don't think there's anywhere else we go that's hell. I think, to be honest, Earth is hell. I think we're in purgatory being here right now. That's what my belief has always been. And that in order to die successfully is heaven. Death is heaven. To die before you die in that aspect. To kill off what you've been.
I struggle with life after death and soul theory simply because a lot of people only mention it or only discuss it in regards to us when everything around us is living.
Well, I think Emerson's theory was that there's an individual soul and there's something called the oversoul. And there's basically...
Does every living thing have that, or is it just humans?
Everything. Okay, to put it in simpler words, your soul within the soul of the world. That's also in The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. It's a really popular novel. Soul of the world. Good book.
But yeah, that's my question with a lot of people that support soul transfer theory or dual soul theory, anything that defines a second soul or our soul as a separate entity from ourselves, and that your soul moves on after you pass. Is that every living thing? Does an elephant die and its soul moves?
Yes.
I think it has to be.
Everything deep down is energy. Yeah. Nothing dies; it just changes.
Well, I'm talking about in the existentialism in terms of like reincarnation or life after death, anything like that. I feel like it has to be every complex organism because it would be a rule of nature at that point. It can't just be the Homo sapiens.
Every truth, if it's true, reflects itself in its opposite.
So how does that apply to what we're currently... I'm not tracking.
What is my opposite is everything that's not me. Like you said, everything else would have... The soul belief would have to be true in everything else if it's true in me. So
yeah.
It's in its opposite is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Everything's a mirror, and so there's the other side of it.
Yeah.
There's what it's reflecting, and then there's the reflection. And so with truth, I use that as like one of my rules and principles when I'm defining something that's true. If it reflects in its opposite, then it's true. I have in my second book, something is because its opposite isn't. And that's like the most metaphysical, philosophical, basic kind of basis.
Yep. I don't know. I think existentialism, just going back to that basic point, anything that is, should we ever get a definition for it, world shattering for at least one individual, it means it's something that us as a population should never find out. I think divinity, like if we're talking about just like basic things, like the pillars of this idea for me, it's divinity, or reincarnation or life after death, the meaning of life.
What do you mean by pillar? What are you listing? Like divinity being number one isn't what you believe? Or?
No, the things that I would contribute most to the idea that we're not supposed to know the definitive truth about them.
Okay.
These are the pillars of that idea.
Thank you. Yeah, that makes sense.
Divinity, life after death, the meaning of life. Honestly, those three are the ones that immediately come to mind. And so those are the pillars in terms of like, if we ever knew the definitive actual, this is exactly what this is, and there's like multiversal universal proof of this, we're never ever supposed to know that. We're never supposed to know the actual truth of divinity, should there be one. We're never supposed to know the actual truth of the meaning of life, should there be one. And we're never supposed to know we're never supposed to know what happens after we die, should something happen. We are never supposed to know the meaning to these three things because it is so farther above us that it should never reach us. If it reaches us, something wrong happened because something in me tells me that we are never supposed to know these things. I honestly don't know what it is. Because like you'd feel like you're entitled to whatever information you can find. Something makes me feel like we should stop searching because we're either not going to like what we're going to find, or everyone's going to die before they find it. So it's going to be a truth never found.
Well, and also with two things. One, I think you understand it when you die because you're no longer here to understand it. It's no longer reality breaking if there's no reality. And two, to question the person that's speaking that opinion, which is you right now, what would you do if you found out the meaning of life was? How would it shape you? Because you're saying that it's bad for everybody. How would it be bad for you? Or would it be bad?
I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying it's something we're never supposed. I honestly, in terms of defense, it's more of a personal feeling than like something backed up by logic, which I think makes it scary to me. It's very frightening to me that this is a feeling I have because I feel like it's coming from somewhere. That's what makes me so afraid. Is for some reason this idea that I have, the fact that I feel so passionate about it, and that I'm like, I will triple down on my life this idea that we're never supposed to know these things. I feel like it's coming from somewhere that's like beyond me. This is it's so internally true to me, and I think that makes me so fearful of it because I feel like it's coming from somewhere beyond my own cognition.
I agree. Sometimes emotions, when felt greatly, precede logic.
The only way I can explain it is like I feel like it's coming from somewhere else.
And what would that other thing be? God.
I see. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's another thing I'm never supposed to know. But the fact that I will die on this hill, I can never be convinced otherwise. I genuinely believe that. The fact that I believe that that there are answers to questions that we're never supposed to find. Like the big questions. I'm not talking about like secret governments or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about like existence qualifying questions.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that I believe that there are answers we are never supposed to know. The fact that I'm so passionate about it honestly, it almost makes me feel like iRobot, and it's something that someone else has coded in me. Yeah, which is so frightening. Yeah. That is so scary. But that's how I feel some days about it. It's like Voldemort, where you literally can't get his name out of your mouth. You can't say it. I feel like I can't think about it. You know, I feel like every time I think about it, I go up against the wall, and so I'm like, well, I can't push past that.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey.
Are you good? I didn't know if I was causing any problems.
Last night?
Yeah.
No, it wasn't you.
Okay, good. I was trying to hold Edwin back while I was kind of gone.
Oh, so you were there?
Yeah, I was right there watching you.
Can you agree that what he did was completely fucked up?
I don't know what he did.
When did you get there?
I got there when you were in the Teletubby suit trying to get out, and Edwin was like trying to stop you from going out. We were literally at the back door.
So you saw all of it? So
inebriated.
Okay.
So half all of it.
I was not in the mood to be touched. I just wanted to leave.
Yeah.
He was literally stopping me from leaving, first off. And second off, he kept coming closer to me because he wanted to hold me. He wanted to give me a hug.
He
was pushing me up against the wall.
Yeah.
He was literally entrapping me. Yeah. I could not walk around him and leave. That was my problem. Because I was gonna Irish goodbye. I wasn't even gonna like yell or crash out like I did last time. Yeah. I did that of my own volition last time. I was literally just gonna like leave. It was 12:20. My night was done.
You called a good night.
Yeah, and I was gonna go home, and Edwin refused to grant me that, and so that pissed me off. He felt like he was drunk too, like he was blasted, which made me feel this is all gonna have to get fucking cut.
Yeah.
No, you're good. But
I'm gonna stop recording now, I guess.
And I felt so.
You can press the pause button.
Huh?
Pause button, left corner.
Oh.
It pauses the